What is up, my most amazing Media Man fans? This is the Media Man. Hope you guys are doing well and you're enjoying the E3. I've seen some comments that people hate it, people love it, best, worst, whatever. I'm somewhere in between. I am enjoying myself. A lot of great announcements. Not everything I wanted to see, but definitely enough to make me happy. So let's talk about Sony's E3. Before I do want to say, Go Dubs won today. They are the champions. Absolutely proud of my team. And love the Dubs. And if I sound like I'm bragging, it is because I am. I am also a Redskin fan. I am also a Atlanta Braves fan. So I don't get to talk much during the year. I just kind of stay quiet. But Warriors are my favorite team. I love the team. KD and Curry and Clay and Green, and I mean, I can just go on. That's not what this video is about, but I want to make sure that I did take the opportunity to say, awesome job, awesome game. And if you're a Cleveland fan, they did really well. And I'm not the biggest LeBron fan, but much respect. He did fantastic. Really 39 points or something like that. He's a beast. I can't deny it. However I feel about Cleveland or him or whatever. So props there. And there's always next year. I'm sure they'll both be back again. It'll be interesting. So saying that, I did want to get something off my chest before I get into Sony's conference. I tend to record later than other people, so I see videos pop up of E3 before I get to it. And I did want to kind of get something off my chest that's really bugging me. I'm a big fan of this guy. I love this guy, so this isn't personal attack on him. Just on the video he did. He recorded a video talking about how horrible Sony's conference was. And, the language he used was horrible and terrible and acted like it was the worst thing ever, over dramatized. And it was just, it really bugged me. So I'm sorry, Chris from Stone Fox Media. Nothing personal. Love you. You do a great job. It's a great channel. But this one video just drove me up the wall, drove me crazy. I listened to it because I wanted to hear him out. But to me, it couldn't be further from the truth. This is my opinion, of course. You could disagree with me. I don't care. But that's how I feel. I love all the consoles, and Sony did not do a terrible job. It wasn't horrible. Maybe not as great as it could have been, but that's not horrible. That's just good. Not great. So, and I'll tell you why I think that. But let's talk about the games, because it was, these are always about the games to me. Yes, there is new hardware coming in the Xbox One, but when you come to Sony right now, we're talking about the games. This is where they're really strong. And the first game that they mentioned was Uncharted Lost Legacy. It doesn't have Drake in it. It has Chloe and Nadine, I believe, is the other girl. But it looked really, really good. It looked like an Uncharted game. I'm hoping the banter is as funny. You couldn't hear it. There's a lot of music and stuff like that, so you didn't hear them talking. You saw them doing different things. But it looked great. It looked like an Uncharted game with her in it, and I really do like her as a character. I think she was interesting, and I think that this game is going to be amazing. So I can't wait for it to come out. If you haven't played an Uncharted game, play an Uncharted game. If you have, of course, a Sony console, and which are now $250, by the way. So you can actually get a Slim for $250, if you even a gold one if you want. So it might be a good time if you've been waiting. But anyway, great series, great game. This game looks to be the same, and it's only $40 when it releases, and I believe it releases in a couple months. It's one of the few they announced the date with. We'll talk about that once I talk about the games. The next game they actually mentioned was the very game I'm playing, except it was the expansion, and I believe it was called Frozen Wildland, or I'm sorry, I'm going off my memory at 3 a.m, so Frozen something, Wilderness or something like that, and it looked great. The snow effects looked great. The characters looked great. One of the things I love is the facial animations. So they showed that real quick. Not a whole lot on it, just a little bit of gameplay and the snow and all that good stuff. The next game they showed actually surprised me, not because I hadn't seen it before. I saw it at last year's E3, and that's Days Gone. I mentioned in the Microsoft video, I'm not a huge fan of zombie games anymore because they're oversaturated. I never really liked zombies in the first place. Sorry, guys. Some of the games that they're in are pretty cool, but um, just kind of getting tired of them. So when I saw it in last last year's E3, I thought a cool third-person shooter, but it's zombies again, whatever. There's a ton of them. Almost like a Dynasty Warriors. There's just a ton of stuff coming at you. So that was pretty cool, but, otherwise I wasn't completely blown away. This E3, they showed more of it, and they showed, closer. So you got to see the character in more detail and his great facial expressions, and the voice acting sounded like it was great. But the thing that stood out to me the most was, I can only explain it by telling you kind of part of the scene. And I'll try to have some videos up later. I can't do it right away due to some... I don't want to get any copyright strikes. I want to make sure that's all clear and all that stuff. But they showed this part where he ran by these zombies and went through this gate. They were doing other things. They didn't notice him, I suppose. And he saw his friend up in this short tower, and he needed to get to him. He needed to go up to this ladder to get to him. But there were a ton of bad guys there. Couldn't figure out how to, how am I going to do this? I can't fight all these bad guys. And then got this idea of blowing up the gate. So he goes, he sets the TNT, blows up the gate. All the zombies come out, and they, attack all the bad guys. And he goes up the ladder, and then, the scene ensues. He rescues his friend, blah, 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 all that stuff. But it was really cool how you can use the zombies for your benefit. I don't think you control them at any point, but you can set up bombs and set up different things so the zombies go where you want them to go. And I thought that was a really cool way to do things. It makes me really want to play this game, zombies or people or whatever, just to try that mechanic out. And it looks like it's going to have a lot of replayability. So that was really cool. The next game they played, I watched really carefully because it was the character design. I knew what it was right away. This guy was walking down. He had this huge sword. And I thought, but it looked really, it looked better than any version I've ever seen, and that was Monster Hunter World. They showed a big T-Rex and a dragon that attacked the T-Rex later, and it's a really cool video. It was gorgeous. Obviously, it was a PS4 Monster Hunter. There had been rumor that was going to happen. I wasn't 100% sure because it wasn't, it wasn't one of those rumors that was people were 100%. This is going to happen. And I didn't want to hope too much, but man, did the game look good. And it being called Monster Hunter World makes me think it's going to be MMO-ish. Although most of the Monster Hunters you play with other people, so it wouldn't change that much. But I don't know if it's going to be only online or how that's going to work. That would be my guess. Anytime I see World, I think that's what it's going to be, unless it's like Super Mario World. There's that. So that looked great. The effects looked great. I'm very excited about what the armor is going to look like with the amount of PS4 shine. Because whatever you think of the PS4 Pro, it's a very powerful console. I know that the Xbox One X is going to be the most powerful console. I can't deny that. I can't argue with that. I don't disagree with that. But it doesn't mean that the PS4 is not. It's like saying, I have a Ferrari, therefore the Charger is not very powerful. Well, that doesn't really work that way. So it looked great. It looked like it was definitely using the power of the PS4 or the PS4 Pro. I believe it does run in 4K and all that, a simulated 4K, I guess is what they call it. So I did enjoy watching that. The next one, it's one of those things where you're watching the character, you're like, that character, I know who that character is, I'm 100% sure it is, but no, they wouldn't. And sure enough, a huge Colossus showed up. And it was just an amazing thing to see because it was an enhanced PS4 Colossus. So Shadow of the Colossus is being remade for the PS4. And it looks great. It's not coming out for a while. I believe they said 2018. I think that's right. But it looked phenomenal. They're going to do a great job, and I'm really looking forward to that. So, we watched that. And then right after that came Marvel vs. Capcom Infinite. Now, I'm a big Marvel vs. Capcom fan. I love 3. I played that one a lot. Love 2. Played it on my Dreamcast and in the arcade, and it's a fun fighting game, especially when you learn all the moves and you really learn the right combination. This looked really good. It kind of had that 3D, 2D look. The characters were kind of 3D-ish, and there was a lot of stuff in the background, and it looked great as far as that goes. When they did some of the character, like the faces and stuff, they looked a little bit funky to me, but it is early, so they do have time to kind of fix that. I believe it comes out in September. I could be wrong on that, but anyway, there's a free demo on the PlayStation Store right now. It doesn't show up right now when you first go to the store. You have to look for it. Go to free, then go to demos, and go to all, and just kind of scroll down until you see it. It stands out. The thumbnail or whatever you call it looks really bright and all that stuff. So you should be able to find it, check it out yourself, see if it's for you. I haven't tried it yet. I will give you some thoughts on it. I may do a Let's Play just on the demo, or just like a quick review of the demo to let you know what I think. But it looked pretty cool. They had some story mode stuff. Some of the characters I got really jazzed about, Rocket Raccoon and Mega Man and just Dante and all the great Capcom greats and the of course the Marvel greats. I'm sorry, I said Rocket Raccoon and Capcom. I told you I was tired. But the mix looked really good. Didn't see too much gameplay, really. It was more story stuff, and the demo is actually the story demo. But try it yourself, see what you think. Let me know in the comments what you think of it. I'm pretty jazzed about it. I will be picking it up. And I think they'll probably fix any of the kind of weird, what I thought was kind of weird faces. But it looks cool either way. I'll pick it up. The next one they showed was one I actually expected Microsoft to show, because I'm just used to it, was Call of Duty. Now, for the first time in a while, in a few years, I'm actually excited about this one. I'm a big fan of the World War games, the old school, not the, where you have jetpacks and stuff. Those can be fun. I do like Titanfall too. But what they showed just looked really intense. This is based on World War II. In fact, it's called Call of Duty WW2, and it had the big moments you expect from a Call of Duty game. What I call the Michael Bay moments: a big plane coming and crashing into a building. The gunplay looked phenomenal. The sounds of the guns, from what I heard, sounded great. So a great looking shooter. Really excited about it. Hopefully, we'll see more on it later. I have a feeling we will, probably in Activision's, when that is, but it's tomorrow. So I'll let you know. I will definitely do a rundown on Activision's. Hopefully they give us some more exciting, interesting stuff. And I have a feeling they'll probably have a few surprises. So, for those who are disappointed in the console stuff, remember there's still a bunch of developers and stuff like that. In fact, we'll talk about Ubisoft before I'm done here. But the next game that they showed was called Star Child. It's an indie-looking game, side-scroller game, but I didn't realize until a little bit that it's actually a VR title. I've got nothing against VR titles. I have used Sony VR. It is pretty cool. I'm just a bit bitter because I can't really afford VR right now. I'm hoping to get one for the channel, but at this point, a lot of this VR stuff I just zoned out because until I get VR, I'm not real, jazzed about it. It's like if I didn't have a Switch, I wouldn't get excited about Switch games if I don't have the console, which I do, yay. But so I will let you guys know if I do get a VR and some of the VR titles. I'll do some reviews on them. But for now, it did look good. Star Child did look good. I cannot say it doesn't. Pretty cool. I'm pretty excited about the game so far. And the VR games look better than I thought. In fact, the next game they showed was Skyrim, and they only showed first person. I don't know if they're going to have anything besides first person, like second person. I don't know. No, I'm just kidding. Like third person, or if it's just going to be first. But I think with the VR title, you want to be in first person anyway. Um, but then the next one they showed, my brain turned off. My feelings were hurt. It's like really, Final Fantasy 15 fishing. Basically fishing with the Final Fantasy 15 characters in VR. Now it may be fun. Again, I don't have a VR, but I don't know. I don't like gimmicky things generally. Even if it's based off a game I really like, I could care less. I mean, it feels like I don't like games that feel like they should be part of another game. You know, it'd be like having a Zelda fishing game. Um, I think they have something like that. I could be wrong. Anyway, so it didn't do much for me. You know, whatever. He caught a big fish, yay! And if that's all there is to it, I don't care. I'm just going to be straight up with you guys. But the next one I saw actually looked really interesting. It looked like it would be. It didn't look like a VR game because some of them are pretty, cheesy. They show you these VR games and hope you buy them because they're VR games, but they're not, full amazing looking games. But this one, it's called Moss, and it was a mouse cartoon kind of looking game. It looked really good, and the mouse had a shield and a sword. It looked like he can get armor, and he was going through dungeons and fighting, and it looked great. I was really impressed and surprised, and forgot it was a VR title. But that was all they showed for the VR. It was just about 4 games. They didn't spend too much time, except showing the unit a little bit. Then they got back to the actual, the standard PS4 games. Obviously, no Vita at all. But we knew that. We knew that going in, that the Vita is pretty much it's a dead console to them. They didn't support it very well. That's another rant for another time. But they showed God of War. It looked great. I really like the direction they're going with the VR. I'm sorry, with the VR, with God of War. I think that it's going to be a fantastic game. I like the whole. He has his son, and now he has to watch it. There was like a rage meter. He had to watch it now. When he got mad, like he'd get mad at his son would cry, and then he would, his rage meter would go down as he's trying to control his rage. So unlike other God of War games, he's actually trying to control it, and while teaching his kid to survive, trying to find that balance. It just looks great. So really impressed with that. Super jazzed about that one. The next game they showed was Detroit Become Human. It looks good. I'm still not 100% sure on it, but it's a good pedigree the developers have. So I am, but I don't know much about the gameplay. They kind of showed some stuff, and I'm not sure how much you control, how much is quick time. I'll do some research for you guys and let you know kind of if it is quick time. From people that are at E3 and playing, I've got some connections that way, and hopefully we'll find out. The next game they showed was Destiny 2. Now we're almost done with the games, but the next game they showed was Destiny 2. It did look really good. It's another Destiny game, but the story looked like it was better. Like they actually, focused on the story more than last time. That's one of the things I didn't care for about the first Destiny, is the story was kind of, but it looked good. It looked really good. I'm interested in playing it just because the sorry, I'm having to buy this here. I don't know which one he's talking about. Okay. So anyway, sorry, he won't let me. He wouldn't leave me alone until I did it. Oh, you're like a nag. But anyway, so Destiny 2 looked really good. And then, of course, the Sony came out again and talked just a little bit and said, well, thank you for coming, blah, 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 one more game, and Spider-Man. Spider-Man looked phenomenal, probably the game of, almost the game of the show, I'd say. I haven't seen the whole show, of course, but definitely the game of Sony's conference. It looked phenomenal, a lot of QuickTime stuff, but it looked like they're doing it correctly. Um, but, oh, okay, I don't care. But yeah, so overall, I think a good conference. But right now, just before I, talk about Ubisoft, I want to talk about just something that I've been thinking about, just the Sony difference. What is it that attracts me to Sony's games? I've mentioned this many times. I'm not a fanboy. I love all the games. I can tell you why I like each system, why I like each style of game and stuff like that, and how I feel each system, what their strengths are. But right now, I'm going to talk about Sony, the Sony difference. It's because they have character. They've got emotion. A lot of the characters have emotion. I can't think of, except for Gears of War, a game on the Xbox One that made me feel the way The Last of Us did. The way, Horizon Zero Dawn, even with the character, the way they emote. A lot of the games, Uncharted 4 and the Uncharted series, and I can go on down the line, a lot of different games that they've put out that made you feel something, whether it made you laugh or it made you cry. Last of Us tore me up, and I love that. Even Until Dawn, the fear on the teens' faces was, broke my heart sometimes, and sometimes I just wanted to not press any buttons and let the bad guys get them. But yeah, so that's for me the big thing with them. I mean, for Nintendo, it's just the fun factor. There's no games that I smile as much as I do when I play a Nintendo title. There's something about the Nintendo titles, the innocence of them, the Zeldas, the Marios, where I just can't stop smiling. I'm just having such a good time. And Nintendo is just the master at that when they do their first party stuff. Microsoft, has a lot of just Michael Bay moments, a lot of explosions, a lot of first person shooters, and they're more than that. But, Forza is a great racer, things like that. But I can't think of any games. And if you can, please let me know in the comments. I'm not trying to bash on Microsoft or anything. It just, they have their strengths, as Sony does, as Nintendo does. But for me, the Sony difference is that emotion, and they've built a lot of characters, from Kratos to Drake to a lot of the platformers they have, just a lot of stuff that you can point to and say that you remember it after you go to sleep. You remember it, years after you played it. Shadow of Colossus and Ico, and I mean, I can go on. It's not just about the power. I think that's my biggest thing is, yes, the Xbox One X is going to be a beast. I do want to pick one up, hoping the Tooth Fairy just leaves a lot of money under my pillow or something. But it looks, the Xbox One X looks phenomenal, but the PS2 had that emotion stuff going on. The PS3 did. It's not just about the power. It's about the way they design the characters. It's about, the way the games are made. And for me, that's the biggest thing with Sony is they've worked real hard on, creating new characters. Hellblade is coming out eventually. It looks great. Horizon Zero Dawn, Infamous Second Son. I was hoping for another Infamous game to be announced. Hopefully there'll be some other games announced for Sony's platform from other companies. But, just a lot of fantastic stuff that, and it's all about the emotion. It's all about how the games make you feel when you're playing them. So, But yeah, so that's kind of my thoughts on that. It is getting late, so I'm starting to get a little sleepy. You get in the mind of the media man. Um, but so that's my 2 cents on that. And just real quick, want to kind of touch on the Ubisoft or Ubisoft or whatever you want to call them. I think it's Ubisoft um, conference. They did a real good job. They had Far Cry 5, controversy or not, however you feel about it, it did look good. And I don't want to talk about the controversy at this point. I just, it did look like it was well done. Um, a lot of their other stuff, looked good. It was a pretty quick conference. Um, I don't know how long it was, but it went by pretty fast because they did a real good job. Um, but the thing that kind of that I'm thinking about right now that just it bugged me a little bit, and is a Beyond Good and Evil 2 reveal. Now, part of me is excited because there's another Beyond Good and Evil, and I do love the first one to death. I mean, it was a Zelda-esque action adventure kind of game, but different. She had her camera, she was taking pictures. I spent a lot of time taking pictures and trying to make that money. And the boss fight was great, especially the last boss fight, and the sneaking around, the running, the trying to escape. It was a great adventure that anybody can play. Kids, parents who don't want their kids to be exposed to violent or to language and other stuff. It was just a very family-friendly, fantastic, in the vein of another Zelda or that style. It didn't play just like Zelda, but just it was that kind of game, and I loved it. I loved it for that. I played a lot of violent games in my lifetime. I will continue to. To do, the medium and mature and stuff like that. So I don't have a problem with that kind of thing. My issue was when they dropped the F-bomb like every other word. And it wasn't because they dropped the F-bomb. Like I said, Far Cry 5, I'm sure there'll be a ton and everything else. For me, this is a game I was super looking forward to, that I was going to play with my son, that I was going to be able to just, enjoy and have this great adventure where I can not have to worry about, the mature stuff. I like my mature games, but I don't always want to play a mature game, and I don't feel like that's what this is. I don't feel like the Beyond Good and Evil series should be that. But then again, I'm not the creator. Michael Ansel, when he came out, he was crying. He obviously felt very deep about it. But it just feels like the cursing is, you might as well have Zelda or Link from Zelda start cursing, or Mario or something like that. It felt weird to me. It didn't feel like it fit. So that was a disappointment for me. The game looks great. I'm not going to say it doesn't. The characters look cool. I do like the new characters, and it is a prequel. But just why the F-bombs? Why'd you have to put that in there? It bugs me, I almost feel like they're trying to be too hardcore, from the controversy with Far Cry 5 to the other stuff. But that's just me. Yeah, I may be the only one in the whole entire universe that feels that way, and that's cool, that's fine. They make great games. Assassin's Creed, I am super, super excited about. That's actually, for their show, that's my game of the show. I'm simply because Beyond Good and Evil is so far out. And Assassin's Creed looks like it's more on the horizon. So I'm really looking forward to that one in Egypt. It looks great. I can't wait. I may even get the collectors. We'll see. But yeah, so they did a good job. A lot of... Well, there you go. See, this is real time, guys, and I apologize for that. Maybe getting a new pair of headset, because this drives me crazy. But anyway, so there you go, guys. That's my thoughts. Hope you guys enjoyed this video, and that it that you got something out of it, that you learned something, and leave comments. I love to have a discussion. I don't care if you agree with me or disagree with me. Let's have a discussion, and we'll see you guys in the next video. I will have a video for you guys tomorrow. I will do the Nintendo Direct or the Nintendo Conference, whatever they're calling it, tomorrow at 9 a.m. So early morning for me. But bless you guys. I'm so thankful for you guys. Thank you for 4,000. Hit 4,000 subscribers, and I'm growing every day because of you guys, and I really appreciate it. We will see you in the next video. Please hit a like. Please subscribe, and I would love it if you hit that notification to be notified. Take care. Peace.